Former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy says President Trump is stronger than any previous Republican president, including the Gipper, Ronald Reagan. And why does it seem like Democrats feel like they're winning the shutdown fight? Then we'll wrap up the score with America's favorite CNN pollster, Harry Enten. That's today's Faith Check News.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Do you think this could end up being a sticky situation for him? Because the writing's on the wall that Republicans are, in some red states are going to get squeezed. So they probably want to do something. Maybe they can rein in some of the, the fraud and some of the other things that make Obamacare so unaffordable that's causing all this. Maybe they can do that, but there probably will be some type of deal extending things. Then Johnson could lose some people on the right and need Democrats to pass something which could then threaten his speakership if he has to go that way. Is that possible, or you think that?
I don't think Johnson is ever in any problem of losing his job. Remember, you've got the president. Even Johnson getting his job, it was the president who called. The president makes sure these bills passes the floor. You've got real power. President Trump is stronger than any Republican president has ever been, stronger than Ronald Reagan. And so that doesn't really affect Johnson's job. He's fine as long as President Trump is there.
So the truth is, not everyone is old enough to remember Ronald Reagan and his 2 terms. But what do you think? Do you think President Trump is currently the most powerful and effective Republican president, at least in the last 4 or 5 decades? I kind of went to Perplexity AI and asked it to tell me the approval and favorability rating of the previous presidents at the same time in their second term as President Trump is right now. And what I don't know if a Perplexity is a he or she, but what it came up with is, it says Donald Trump's currently somewhere around 44 to 45% approval. Barack Obama at this time in October of 2013 was somewhere between 41 to 43% approval. And George W. Bush was about 39 to 41% approval. But Bill Clinton had in October of 1997 a 59 to 61% approval rating, depending on which poll you went to. So, except for Bill Clinton, President Trump has a better approval rating than Barack Obama and George W. Bush at this time in his second term. But let's take a deeper dive into why Bill Clinton's approval ratings were so high in that part of his second term. And I'll just read this to you. Clinton's popularity rode structural tailwinds, largely shaped by Republican fiscal discipline and technological expansion. While Trump's numbers are constrained by external economic strain and partisan voter sorting, not a collapse of his own base. Thus, one could reasonably argue that if Trump had inherited the same macroeconomic fortune and bipartisan fiscal setting of the 1990s, his favorability would likely eclipse Clinton at the equivalent stage of a second term. Remember, it was the Republicans who forced Bill Clinton to sign the balanced budget bill. It's the first time we've had a balanced budget. In fact, it's the last time we had a balanced budget in 30 plus years now. That was Republicans, not Bill Clinton. And of course, well, maybe not all of you are old enough to remember the internet boom. At first, people thought it was crazy, but man, it took off and got way out of control. Of course, Clinton left office before the internet crashed and came back down to reality. So when you put all of these presidents in the context of what else was happening and not just their actions, you realize President Trump probably has the strongest support of the American people at this time in his second term than any previous president in modern history. And that explains the next clip you're going to see from Kevin McCarthy, where he argues what the real reason is behind the Democrat shutdown of the government.
That's what Mark Kelly, the senator we had on last week, said. The president's got to do this. He's got to decide how to come up with something to extend it, and then it'll be over.
Yeah, but that extension takes place when you do your appropriation bills.
Right,
and
I know.
If I hear what Republicans are saying, they're probably going to extend this. It's not going to look exactly as it does right now. They're going to put some accountability into it. But really, that wasn't why the Democrats shut down. They shut down because their base told them not to agree anything with President Trump. And now they feel they are winning because they have shut Congress down, that Congress is not in session. So they're taking away a day. Every day Congress is not in session, they think they've denied Trump a day to govern.
Many of you remember during Trump's first term, the whole Democrat resistance of #resistance and the ladies with the pink hats running around. But I wonder if you also remember another mantra they had of ungovernable. It was basically a metaphor for institutional resistance. So not only civil disobedience and disruption, but also lawfare. So using federal judges to try to put national injunctions to prevent Trump from doing this and doing that. Of course, the border wall ended up in another shutdown where the Republicans weren't going to pass a budget unless the Democrats were willing to fund building the border wall. The Democrats refused to build the border wall. That was the 2018-2019 shutdown. So today, when we see this movement to prevent Trump and called the No Kings movement, it's just another name for the #resistance, the ungovernable, and the pink hats. Which begs the question, are the No Kings protests really trying to stop authoritarianism? Or is it actually an anti-democratic movement to prevent the will of the people from a duly elected president being enacted? Now let's jump to Harry Enten and get the final score.
We speak about Donald Trump shutdowns, net approval rating. We're talking 20 days into it. In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this. The first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018-2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
It sound right, boy.
So my question to you is this. Are we witnessing an authoritarian president or a rebellious party that refuses to allow real negotiations, like legitimate negotiations to actually solve the problem? What do you think? Comment below. Like and subscribe to help content like this go further. I'm Brian Tuttermore with today's Faith Check News. Remember, think right to live free.
It comes down to the blame game, a game I loved to play when I was younger. Blame Trump for the shutdown, a great deal. In 2018/2019, 61%, more than 3 in 5 Americans blame Trump a great deal for that particular shutdown. You come over to this side of the screen, look at this. It's a different world. It's a different world. 48% of Americans blame Trump a great deal for this particular shutdown. So it's more than 3 in 5 back in 2018/2019. It's less than half, a drop of 13 points. Again, it's no real wonder that Donald Trump at this point, looking at the shutdown, says, you know what, it's not actually harming me politically, in large part because he's getting less of the blame.